Next time you're on a flight, listen closely to the pilot's announcement. Cruising at 480 knots. Not miles per hour, knots. Ships use the exact same unit. It sounds like an old pirate word that just never left. But knots isn't a leftover tradition. It's tied directly to the actual shape of planet Earth. Welcome to Everyday Secrets, where ordinary things hide extraordinary stories. The word comes from an actual literal rope with actual knots tied in it. Picture a sailing ship in the 1600s, hundreds of miles from any coastline with no GPS, no radar, not even a reliable clock. Sailors still needed to know one critical thing: exactly how fast their ship was moving. So they built a tool called a chip log, a wedge of wood tied to a very long rope. Along that rope, they tied knots at exact, even intervals. They'd throw the wood chip off the back of the ship and let the rope run free through their hands. At the same time, another sailor flipped a small sand glass timer, usually set for exactly 30 seconds. Whatever number of knots slipped through their fingers before the sand ran out, that was the ship's speed. Here's the clever part. Those knots weren't spaced randomly. They were tied about 14 meters apart, a distance calculated directly from something much bigger, the size of the Earth itself. Sailors had already divided the Earth's circumference into 360 degrees, and each degree into 60 smaller units called minutes. One of those minutes of latitude became the exact definition of a nautical mile. So the spacing of the knots on that rope divided by 30 seconds worked out to almost exactly 1 nautical mile per hour. That's the entire origin of the word. A knot is literally 1 nautical mile of speed per hour. Not knots per hour, technically, just knots. The per hour is already baked into the word. So why does any of this still matter now that we have satellites and radar? Here's the key detail. A nautical mile isn't an arbitrary distance. It's built directly into the Earth's geometry. 1 minute of latitude is the same everywhere on the globe, North Pole to equator. That means a ship or a plane can measure speed in knots and immediately know exactly how that translates on any navigation chart. A regular mile has no relationship to latitude or longitude at all. It was defined completely separately, for use on land. That's exactly why cars and trains use miles or kilometers per hour, while ships and planes stick with knots. Cars travel short distances where the Earth's curve barely matters. Ships and planes travel long distances where it matters constantly. For anyone navigating using latitude and longitude, knots simply make more sense than any other unit ever could. You'd think a system this useful would have been standardized immediately. It wasn't. For hundreds of years, different countries quietly used slightly different definitions of a nautical mile. It wasn't until 1929 that an international conference finally agreed on one single exact definition. The United States didn't officially adopt that exact standard until 1954. The United Kingdom didn't fully switch over until 1970, just a few decades before GPS made all of this almost automatic. And when aviation came along in the 20th century, it inherited the same system almost entirely from maritime navigation. Pilots were already using the same charts, the same latitude and longitude grid, so knots came along automatically. So to recap, a knot started as an actual knot tied into a rope, thrown off a 1600 ship. That spacing was calculated from the Earth's own geometry, 1 minute of latitude. That connection makes knots uniquely useful for long-distance navigation, on both water and in the sky. And even with satellites doing all the calculating now, the unit itself never needed to change. A rope, some knots, and a sand glass, quietly still shaping how we measure speed across oceans and skies. If you'll actually listen for knots next time you fly, hit like. And subscribe to Everyday Secrets. Because even the words pilots and sailors use are hiding centuries of history. See you in the next one.